goes live in 2 minutes. Lynn Cullen live in 1 minute. Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com.
Hello there, welcome. It's Thursday. Where'd that come from? It's the 6th of December. The sky is blue, the sun is out, and Tom Sokolowski, raconteur, is with us.
Thank you, my darling.
Oh, gosh, that doesn't sound good.
Oh, I missed a little Qatar.
Okay. There you go again.
What?
Qatar, spell it.
Catarrh.
I think that's right. It's so weird. RRH. Whoever
I don't
heard
know
of
where
such
it
a thing?
comes from.
I can't imagine. It doesn't sound like it has a root in any, well,
It has to have a root from
respectable,
some-
respectable language.
It probably comes
It's
from Hungarian or
I
something.
don't know. Sounds like Hindi.
Hindi, okay.
Qatar, because KH like khaki and stuff.
That's right, it may be.
Qatar
And then it became popular. Well, I think you hear it a lot in England. People don't say it so much here.
No, they don't say it at all.
It probably came from the Raj and all that.
Yeah, that's right. They were the colonialists. I bet that's right. Somebody look it up.
And also, it's probably some of those like 700-year-old people you talked about yesterday. Oh, she has Qatar, but she's still alive at 306.
Well, speaking of that, I do have an obit.
Yes, please.
Okay, 103.
Oh, request in pace.
Okay, what's amazing about this, and actually this was depressing, not because the 103-year-old is dead, but because it means that the 103-year-old son is probably going to live another good 25 years, and I thought he was on,
No, the 80-year-old son, not the 103-year-old
No,
son.
oh, did I say 103?
Yes, right.
The 103-year-old mother of the... Okay, so here it is. Rupert Murdoch's mother is dead.
But the mean son of a bitch is still alive.
Yeah, but
her
that means he's
son.
got some serious
Well, good genes. Yeah, exactly.
right? So he's going to keep ticking for a long time. Dame Elisabeth Murdoch died in her home in Australia. 103. And, of course, Dave Brubeck.
Yes, of course.
Yes.
It was interesting. I was listening on NPR to a what do you call it, interview with him some years ago. And it was interesting. He told the story that when he was in music school, I can't remember where it was, he was able, until the end of his, I guess, 4 years, to evade the professors because he couldn't read music.
Oh, my
I mean,
God.
he could, compose by ear, but one time some professor caught him and said, "We're not going to give you a degree, whatever."
Can you imagine if you major and you
Well,
can't
but people who have
I know.
composers, they just. But anyway, but the rest of this was the dean, I guess, and the rest of the professors said, "No,
because he's
stupid.
wonderful.
He's wonderful. He's the best counterpoint writer." And then he went on and he studied. And I thought this was very interesting. Even though jazz was his real métier, he studied with the French classical composer Darius Milhaud. And, was interested in doing classical music. And Milhaud told him, he said, "Don't do this, do jazz." And then he actually named one of his kids Darius.
Well,
So that was
Dave
interesting.
Brubeck. I had read that the reason he relied on his ear is that he was born cross-eyed, and that made it difficult for him
probably,
to read.
yeah, that wasn't mentioned. But that's just... But the fact that he could do all that without being able to say C minor,
And the most famous song, the Take Five.
Yeah, right.
Da-da-da-da-da-da. There's nobody who doesn't know that.
Right.
I love it. It's a great
it's beautiful.
song.
Yeah, it is.
He didn't write it.
What do you mean he didn't write it?
He didn't write it.
Well, who wrote it?
Says right here, actually written by the alto saxophonist Paul Desmond,
who was in his
group.
Combo.
Yeah.
Interesting. Huh. Well, that's
Okay.
sort of like, what's his name, with the local jazz guy, Billy Strayhorn, wrote most of those songs that Duke Ellington stole because...
They didn't collaborate. They were collaborative.
Well, in this case, I mean, the alto guy did write it. Yeah, no, because what's his name, Strayhorn was addicted to cocaine, and he was gay, and Duke Ellington had that over him. So he just sort of subsumed all of the... Because not Take the A Train. What was his famous song? I can't remember now. One of those really famous jazz songs.
You just reminded me by saying I can't remember now. We've got to start up some kind of a weekly thing where people predict
how many times,
and we can both both of us, because in the course of the hour I got figured the rules out. This brilliant thought came to me the other
wonderful
day. And you have to get your picks in before the show starts.
Okay.
Just email them in.
Right, okay.
About how many times Tom or I will say
a senior moment.
I can't remember, or what's his name, or what's it called. I can't. It has to be that. Okay. And because I think that's the first for today, but it's still early. We're just 5 minutes in.
We're rolling in, yeah. Well, our knowledge is so copious that how could we have all of it? We'd have to have like a big brain, gran cervellone, as Italians would say, to know everything.
Okay.
But mostly we then usually pick it up later.
Yes. But I would think that we could... I don't know
it's a cute idea.
what you'll win.
Well, I was going to say,
I don't know.
One of those puppets. You said
my
they were
little
cheap.
puppets. Yeah.
Oh, what was the store you mentioned? You mentioned that yesterday where you bought them. I'd never heard of this place.
Oh, it advertises on the show.
Oh.
You listen to the show, 10,000 Villages.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Do you know that store?
No, I don't. That's why I was
it's simply marvelous.
Where?
Squirrel Hill.
Yes.
Forbes Avenue.
Yes.
Business District. Right there.
Oh, okay.
Same side as Little Shoes.
Oh, okay, all
but
right.
down
So
a little
look.
farther.
Okay.
And all of their stuff. It's a fascinating store because they have no paid employees.
Oh.
Everybody who works in there is a volunteer.
Oh.
That's how they keep their prices competitive because they don't screw the people who make the products that are in the store that are almost all third world countries. So they go all over the world finding artisans.
That sounds wonderful.
It is wonderful.
Wow. And is it the profits? Is it charitable as well, or?
Yeah, it's totally charitable. Well, I mean,
it goes back to these villagers.
Yeah,
okay.
They end up. I mean, it's just a wonderful.
That's a marvelous idea.
Store.
And it's so nice to sort of think of you're getting something not only that's helping these people, but that is unique and is not stamped out by
and there's
Hasbro.
Beautiful things.
Well, that's
in
it.
There. Beautiful things, and you're not screwing some poor soul.
Right. Well, it's interesting. I always remember when I lived in Rome 40 years ago, There was in Piazza Navona, the big where the Fountain of Four Rivers is, where all the tourists go.
Yes, where you cannot eat anymore.
Anywhere.
You are not allowed to eat.
Oh, that's
in Rome.
Going to die.
I know.
I called a friend. He said, "Oh, everyone's eating," and then the guards just get bored after the. But anyway, and there used to be this Christmas festival that would start just about now. And they would have all of these beautiful and this was like 100 years ago, 40 years ago, handmade little things for Christmas, and they would sell black sugar carbone, coal, which you were to give to bad children. But and then these shepherds would come down, real shepherds from the Abruzzi Hills area, sort of northeast of Rome, and they would play these like pipes. It was really charming. Well, now I was there about 3 years ago at Christmas time, and it's all like plastic crap that you could get at Target. You think, oh,
isn't that a shame?
I know, but it's.
Hey, speaking of screwing workers, that's a good.
Yeah, right.
I've got
the leitmotif of the moment.
Yeah, well, I'm just picking up on what you're saying and see where all this moves us. Screwing workers brings us to Walmart.
Yeah,
brings us to that horrible fire in the factory in Bangladesh.
In India. Yeah,
wasn't that Bangladesh
You're
a
right,
few weeks ago?
Yeah.
Well, in the remains of that fire have been found a lot of things that clearly show that a number of the people that work there were making clothes
for Target or
for Walmart.
For Walmart, yeah.
For Walmart and Sam's Club. And here is the other thing. It says 5 of the factory's 14 production lines were devoted to making clothes for Walmart. And here's the really damning thing. In a meeting a year ago in Bangladesh, discussing factory safety, the representative from Walmart, who had a lot of power in that meeting, if that's 4 out of their 5 of their 14 lines, the Walmart official played the leading role, this is from the New York Times today, in blocking an effort to have Walmart and other retailers pay more for the goods, for the clothes, so that they could improve the electrical and fire safety in the factories.
Well, you know what's...
Go
ahead.
And here's a quote from the Walmart jerk. In most cases, this would be a very extensive and costly modification, and it's not financially feasible for us to make such investments.
So 140 women died.
Yeah.
You know what's so funny about that is, not funny, but where my museum was at NYU when I worked there.
Don't buy clothes or anything at Walmart.
No, what I was going to say is it was on the site, this building right off of Washington Square on the east side of the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire, which was 1897, I think it was.
Well, it was equivalent to this thing,
well, that's
right?
what I'm saying.
Same
And
thing.
there, they literally, so the women would get, they chained the doors, so that's why
right.
they all died.
Same thing.
Coming down. And I remember every year, they would get tons of people from the ladies' garment. And they'd all come in there, but now they were all Hispanic and Chinese. And you'd hear this weird version of, "Look for the union label." And they would sing it. But you think, but that was over 100 years ago, and now it's the exact same thing.
Yep.
No difference whatsoever.
No difference. It's just the location's different.
Right.
But it's always...
And those people, those women
always
were
exploiting.
Well, and those women then
the
were the
desperate and
migrants, the Poles and the Italians and the Jews from Eastern Europe who couldn't do anything else, so they were working in those sweatshops.
Right.
But, it was interesting, just on NPR yesterday, there was this conversation connected not so much to the fire, but to the fact that in Parliament in Delhi, they were discussing whether they should let in these multinational mega retailers.
Like Walmart.
And it was this bitter, and it was sort of like we talked about Lincoln, the screaming and yelling in the parliament of whether they should or shouldn't. And one guy was saying, "This is the future. There's nothing."
Well,
we can do.
It's the future.
And,
Walmart is single-handedly created a business model that has reduced the wages of millions and millions and millions of people in this country and all over the world. And it's fueled by our desires.
Yeah. exactly.
It's fueled by our desires for things, in many cases, we don't need.
Right.
But the desire to have stuff and
have it at a cheap price.
That's right, the cheapest price. And so
then Alice Walton can have her, I would always call it the Crystal Meth Museum,
her
Crystal
art,
Bridges,
yeah.
and she can buy paintings for $150 million.
Wow. All right. But that brings us to this other union story, since you were doing
you're
union
doing
label.
wonderful connectivity today, my dear.
Well, I'd been hearing about this strike at the port in Los Angeles and Long Beach. Have you heard?
Oh, right. Yeah, a little bit about that.
It got resolved, but
Yes,
it went
right.
on for a little over a week.
Yeah.
And I assumed it was the longshoremen striking. Well, it was their union, but it was their union representing the clerical workers at the port.
I would presume it was longshoremen, too.
But they are. They're members of the longshoremen and warehouse union.
Yeah.
And there were 600 workers, and they went on strike. They'd been working without a contract for over 2 years. They went on strike specifically over not wages, not benefits, over outsourcing. Because increasingly, their job, which has to do with, can be done on a computer anywhere.
Yeah.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
There's no reason why you have to, bless you, have to be sitting in Long Beach where the goods are, bless you, coming in.
Yeah, exactly.
And they've seen some of these jobs go. And they don't necessarily, what's interesting is the union was charging. So they're outsourcing these jobs, get this, to Costa Rica and Arizona.
Costa Rica, I guess. Arizona.
No, it's the same thing. Arizona would be one of those states where they could pay half as much to that's why so much what manufacturing is left in this country has gone to the South.
Yeah. Because of sunshine laws or whatever.
No, right to work.
Right to work, that's right.
Suppose right to work states. So
that's so funny. Have you ever noticed when you call up, particularly these companies where you have like Samsung something, and you're calling up about World Print or something, and it's always, hello, my name is Peggy.
Right.
How are them Steelers doing?
Oh, your name is Peggy.
Aren't you in Benares, my dear? Oh yes, but I'm Peggy. No, that was that one TV commercial.
That's a TV
commercial. But it's like that. They always have names like Lynn or Joanne.
Well, because they can be anywhere, and they are. They're sitting in Delhi.
But they're not Peggy. They're
whatever
or something.
They're whatever they are. And those jobs, which used to be our jobs,
right.
Are now their jobs, and they're making half or less than half of what we were making. So, but get this. There was a piece in the paper today about the strike being settled. The clericals won it.
Good.
They won after just 8 days out. And you never hear of unions winning anything anymore. They won it because they literally paralyzed the...
Well, and also pre-Christmas. They had to get all that grat into the store, to Walmart.
But now,
from China.
Listen to this. What would you think? I think clerical. That doesn't pay much. I was a clerical. I was a secretary.
Typist, yeah.
Yeah, or person who looks at the invoices.
Yeah,
bookkeeping, maybe.
Bookkeeping,
that would be a little bit higher. This and that. Get this. The clerks make average salaries. The average is $41 an hour.
That's not bad.
No! Listen to this. I love this. $41 an hour. Or that adds up to about $87,000 a year.
That's not bad. I'm sure you don't make that working at Walmart.
I'm not even done.
Oh. And a vacation to Kazakhstan or to Puerto Vallarta.
They also...
Yes, do me.
They have pensions.
Ooh.
Who ever heard of such a thing? And get this.
That actually sounds like a good steelworker's salary before all the steel mills closed.
It's amazing. And up to... This one I can't get through my head. 11 weeks of time off.
Shush.
This is the United States of America. How is that possible?
Let's all go to Long Beach.
Let's all go. I want to go.
Wow.
I find this suspect. I just can't even believe this. It says here
from The Onion, perhaps.
No, listen. With overtime and generous benefits, they receive average annual compensation of $165,000 a year.
Wow.
Now, I think,
And they're
Okay.
bitching about the...
No, see, don't. And that's where we go.
Was that pre-strike? That's what they won.
This is what they've won.
Oh, okay.
No, but they weren't doing. They had all this.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
They had all of this. They also, their health insurance is fully paid and includes absolute zero doctor copays,
My goodness.
giving them among the best salary and benefits packages of any blue-collar workers in the nation.
Say.
Oh, I bet.
Wow.
Woo! Way to go!
Everyone,
What a
let's get that
riot.
flight.
What a riot.
That is funny.
Well, yeah. There you go.
I mean, in the light of the burned Bangladeshi seamstresses and Walmart people who are at the checkout counters, I mean, that's pretty louche, I have to say.
Well,
Not to say that they probably don't work hard, but I mean, but still.
it seems, to our minds, maybe they're getting a little too much, and a lot of people are getting too little.
Yeah.
I don't know what to make of it, but.
Well, I was sorry, is it the New York Times or, no, I think it's Parade Magazine.
Oh, for God's sakes, you can't even admit to reading that.
Well, but every year they always have one issue.
Oh,
which
what
is
people
what people
make.
make.
I
And
love
find
that
it's always
thing.
very interesting.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? It sure is. You
Well,
can't-
I read Parade because I always want to hear about one of these country and western stars
Who you don't know.
Well, or I do know, like who grew up with a parent who had one leg, and then they became nuclear physicists and overcame addiction to popsicles and what have you, and love God.
Well, it's how you keep in touch with popular culture.
That's true. Okay. That's true. Yes, exactly.
Parade has gone downhill. I used to read it, but it's not what it was.
Well, it's very skinny.
Everything in print now is very skinny, sparse, and totally.
Well, because no one wants to read. I mean, the fact of, you do, I do. But I mean, when you think the most widely syndicated but also read newspaper in this country is USA Today, which reduces every story to a paragraph. Whether it's, 9/11 or whatever, it's a paragraph. Whereas
Here is a slice of USA Today because I get it. That's more than a paragraph. That's one story.
Well, but it's not
I know.
a long,
I know.
discursive,
No, it's not. But it's if you want some news quickly.
Well, sure, of course.
It's the paper equivalent of
a news bite.
Television news or something.
That's probably true.
That's what it is.
Well, except for television news, at least there'll be, in some instances, in some channels, you do get a flavor. Well, I think...
It is the worst. It used to be. Never now.
No, sure,
They are
that's
the
true.
worst. I can't watch any
Except
of it.
for, like, Scarborough, or what's her name, that woman who's out in the morning, and they're always fighting. What's her name? Is it CNN? Mika Brzezinski.
I cannot stomach her. I cannot
One
stomach
of our good Polish girls.
Oh. Anyway, I got one more obit.
Oh, please.
This is a congressman I always got a kick out of. I don't know if he didn't hit. He's dead. Jack Brooks. I don't know if that rings a bell.
No. What vintage?
Well, he was 89 years old.
I mean, when was his heyday?
Well, I think up until recently. I don't know. When
okay.
does it? I don't know that it says here when he finally left. For all I know, he's still there. Wait, first elected in 1952.
Okay.
And he spent 42 years, so that brings him up to 94.
To the 90s, yeah. And what state?
Texas.
Texas.
But he was elected in 52 when Texas was, still pretty much
not a
Democrat.
state.
Yeah, it wasn't as crazy. It was still a Democratic state. That's the same. You had Sam Rayburn,
Right, Sam
remember,
Rayburn,
out of
yeah,
Texas,
sure.
and LBJ coming out of Texas.
Yeah.
And Jack Brooks was just sort of always around huge events. And also, this is the thing he's worthy of being remembered for. During the 1950s, he was, according to the obituary in the Wall Street Journal, one of the most outspoken Southern supporters of civil rights. Coming out of Texas. And he was absolutely, and he, in fact, helped draft the Civil Rights Act that fellow Texan President Lyndon Johnson signed. And he also helped draft the Voting Rights Act of 65. So that's 64 and 65. So Jack Brooks did a hell of a job. On top of that, he helped draft the Articles of Impeachment for Richard Nixon.
Oh, wow.
And he was in the motorcade in Dallas,
What's
in which JFK was killed. And he is visible in that iconic picture taken later that day aboard Air Force One with Johnson taking the oath. With Jackie at his side and Lady Bird, and Jack Brooks is there as well.
Wow.
So he's quite a... And he was generally, I mean, he was curmudgeonly, too. He was just this tough old pal.
Well, just like Johnson.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting when you were talking, I was thinking, excuse me, Texas at that point, you think of the Great Society. I mean, you would never think Texas would have spawned anything like that today.
Well, it won't today.
No, but...
I mean, today it's turned into a...
I mean, the last visionary from Texas was Ann Richards. And she was more spunky than visionary, but still she was
There's
liberal.
always... I mean, it's such a huge state. There's always great people coming out of Texas, but...
But wasn't that? I'm not going to say it, so I'll get a point though. The black woman who was the senator.
It starts with a T. Starts with a T. Okay, this counts.
It's got a very low voice.
Dang, Barbara.
No, I don't think
Jordan.
Barbara Jordan. That's right.
See, starts with a T.
It starts with a T, right?
But I got it.
But she was Texas. Wasn't
Now, does that
she?
count? Will that count in our? Did something like that count?
No,
yeah, because we were.
If we pick it up.
No, if
okay.
if we're hemming and hawing about a name, even if we come through, so we got two.
But she was Texas, though, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was congressperson.
And she was amazing.
Well, she was quite the orator.
Oh yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah. Here's Lynn, who didn't get a chance to listen to the show yesterday. And she says, she listened to it later. I kept my husband awake laughing at you and Potter yesterday. Thanks for the hoots. She liked all those bills from those wonderful Republican states. It's unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah.
I wish I had funny stuff today. I do not have funny stuff today.
Well, you know what was interesting? The point that Potter was making yesterday of, we've all talked about this, as the press has, of, the nation has spoken and now, and, when he said, and it's funny, I had not thought of it in quite that way, well, their constituents didn't.
Right. They will say,
can say, our constituents have told us how they want us to vote.
Right.
And
right.
It was just like in the Lincoln movie.
So it's like Civil War. Civil War.
When they were making the rules of the ceasefire, and the Southern states said, "Oh well, we'll get back into the Union, and then we can vote against the Emancipation Proclamation." And the Northerners say, "No,
it ain't gonna work that way."
Exactly.
Wow. We should take a break, don't you think? It seems like a timely opportunity. So that we will do, and more topics. I'm all over the place today when we return. Actually, when we return, let's take up that issue we were talking about before we went on the air about noses.
Okay. Well, what one? No, she's not going to bring that up. Okay, fine.
When we come back, noses.
And make sure all the veterinarians call in.
Yeah, we want people
listening.
who know noses, okay? In a minute.
Stick around for more with Lynn Cullen live after this.
Winter has arrived and it's cold outside, so get to Little's for all your UGG needs. Little's has Uggs for men, women, and children to stay warm with shearling-lined boots, shoes, and slippers. And don't forget to get your hats, gloves, scarves, and more. All available at Little's Shoes. Bring the entire family to view one of the largest in-store UGG shops in the U.S. Little's Shoes, Pittsburgh's largest family shoe store, 5850 Forbes Avenue in Squirrel Hill.
Go to bergbargains.com for great deals on your favorite local restaurants, museums, and shows. This week only, get discounts up to 60% on tickets to the Nutcracker. bergbargains.com, Pittsburgh's exclusive e-commerce mall. bergbargains.com.
Here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we've got a pep talk that can motivate you. Sometimes things don't always turn out the way you want them to.
You can improve your future. Now get your game face on and take the first step towards a better life. Hurry up. Don't make me repeat myself.
Whatever level of motivation you need, we've got a pep talk for you. Call 1-877-38-YOUR-GED or visit yourged.org for your pep talk and for free classes in your area. GED is a registered trademark of the American Council on Education, brought to you by Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Once again, here's Lynn Cullen.
Oh, did you ever look up Qatar?
No.
Jess?
Hey,
The etymology
We're on.
of Qatar.
We're on.
Oh, sorry.
and nobody's helping us. The derivation of Qatar, that's really...
Right. But now we'll go from Qatar to
Proboscis.
Proboscis. No, not boss. Proboscis. As a nose.
Spell that.
Probosces, I believe. And then
No, it's C-U-S and then proboscis. Proboscis. It wouldn't be U.S. It's the pearl is an I.
Proboscis. I don't know the plural. We'll look that up.
Anyway, here is an indication.
Noses.
It came up because... this is funny because you were trying to do a metaphor. Metaphors get screwed up a lot, or
they do.
This brings me to one. We'll come back that I wanted to bring up yesterday and forgot. I'd come upon it reading about it was a very serious issue about a murder and stuff, but this one guy was saying, and we're all taking it pretty hard, and even we. Need a shoulder to talk to.
Sort of took the poetry out of it, didn't it? We talk shoulders.
But I mean, you got the point. But it was. But okay, so this is a good lead into
right,
what
it was like shoulder to cry on.
Right, when we were talking, and you said something about a horse's making it over. You were talking.
Oh, we were talking about a race, and I was saying by a head, and you said no, it's by a nose.
You were talking about a horse race,
right?
And you said by a head. I said no, it's by a nose.
That's the most forward part of a horse's body.
Right, and then you said, well, those are nostrils. That's not a nose. And then I said, well, where there's a nostril or two, there's a nose.
Now that's
I don't care if it
metaphor.
doesn't look like you. Your nose.
So then we began to see Lynn ask
Do
me,
horses have noses? Was the question.
Or where is the elephant's nose?
And then where's the elephant's nose?
Yes. Or where was that walrus's nose that we saw?
Yeah. Well, where is the elephant? The elephant does not breathe through the end of the trunk.
I don't really know, to tell you the truth.
Does it?
I don't know.
Or is there are there two little holes at the top or underneath?
Well, except I think, it certainly uses the trunk to feel things, but I think it does have sensitivity of smell there too. Because it sticks the trunk far.
Well, it's like almost a.
Well, and they also
uses it as a tool.
Right, because
they breathe out of their trunks.
Yes.
Breathe in and out through their trunks. They can also spray water in and out.
Spray water, right? But they don't eat because you can see they'll do, and then they'll put the whatever leaves in that because they're herbivores into their mouths.
I was once standing.
Oh, you hear about a porpoise story?
No, this is an elephant story.
What did the elephant do?
I was once standing under. The elephant was right there, and I was going to be putting something in its mouth.
Okay.
And this again is like my dolphin story. This is because as a TV reporter, I got myself
into these weird
situations where I was taken into exhibits that other people wouldn't get to do. So I'm standing in that,
This was Pittsburgh Zoo?
Yeah, in where the elephants are roaming.
Yes, right.
And I'm out there, and I was standing under the elephant's head. The elephant was certainly taller than me, so its head is above mine. And I plopped something in and whatever. And I turned for a second. The
cameraman or whatever.
No, I can't remember. I got hit on the back of my head that I saw stars.
With the trunk?
Yeah. And the elephant didn't mean anything by it. It was simply putting its trunk down. It had
I see.
it had raised its trunk.
Yeah, so you could get the banana in there.
And then the trunk. And let me tell you, that thing, a trunk is a huge thing at the base.
Yeah.
There's a lot of. Oh my God! I thought I was gonna die.
Did the elephant apologize?
No.
I've always had this. I'd love to have done that. Not getting whacked, mind you. I've always had this fascination. Elephants just are so magisterial.
They're amazing.
And fabulous.
They are amazing. And I gave it a bath.
Oh.
It laid down, and I had a big, looks like a push broom. And we sudsed them up, and it was
Do you remember
fun.
the elephant's name?
No.
No, I think they're quite wonderful.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting because of the things I've read about them.
Well, they're smart. They're familiar.
They're smart, but they also bond very much.
Very much.
You know,
and they have great feeling as
yeah,
well.
Yeah.
Ray is wondering if it isn't proboscis.
I
How
think
would you
he's
pronounce it,
absolutely right.
though? Proboscis.
No, I think it's proboscis.
No, we're doing...
I know, but it's not boss. It's bose, I think. Jen?
She doesn't want to have anything to do with us, with our stupid word stuff. She's acting like she's...
If you're wondering.
Yes, no, but the pronunciation.
Oh, I don't know about that.
No, but all the diacritical
No, we
things.
know it's IS, but what's the
Is it proboscis
plural?
or proboscis?
She wants us to shut up.
Yeah.
She's growing.
Will you give us some Gaelic?
All right. Okay.
No. Well, the second syllable,
Never
though.
mind.
Is it like a long bow, or is it
Leave her alone. Okay, so do you recall this? No one wants to talk about noses.
Okay.
But, I mean, it's true. But so if something doesn't resemble our own, we sort of don't acknowledge
No, but
it
the question
as a nose.
is it nasal passages, which all these people have, but does that actually translate to a nose?
Yeah.
No, not necessarily. What you breathe through is not a nose.
Okay, so a nose is a beak a nose? A beak is mouth.
Is a mouth, yeah.
But on the top of the beak, aren't there little holes
I
in
think
our
birds do
noses?
have, or our breathing things. Apparati, like on a porpoise or something. And since you know about porpoises, I know, but I mean, they serve the purpose of bringing oxygen into these animals or whatever they may be, birds or what have you. But does that mean it's a nose per se?
Do you see how much there is?
What?
To know.
Oh, I know, isn't it? It's amazing.
It's just mind-boggling.
I think it's funny, like when you read articles, wherever in Times or in good magazines or something or other, and you think like, noses, and then you'll sort of sit down with it, and you're fascinated.
Yeah, you're just fascinated. Something about a gnat's wing, can just make you go.
Or what was our famous story about? What was the animal that the barnacle had the largest?
The barnacle
penis?
was the largest penis. Yeah.
But who'd have thought?
Well, it made perfect sense when we found out why.
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
Since the barnacle can't go in, the barnacle can't go anywhere. Its penis has to.
Right.
So
now that's
that's
a T-shirt. But that's why when you think of people, and these programs are all over the country. But at CMU, there's that. I can't remember the name of the specific school, number 3. But Osher, that's right. But how these people who have time once they've retired, etc., can take these courses and sit down. Right. And these are people who've been very successful.
I'm going to do that
in their lives.
I'm going to do that.
You should do now. I mean, you're too young, but offer to teach something. Because they're constantly looking for
I spoke at an Osher thing about... I can't remember.
But for you, politics,
journalism, whatever. And that was I'd rather take a class, I think, than teach. Mm. So anyway, do you recall the University of Colorado very upset because a court in Colorado had ruled. The state Supreme Court had ruled that the school could not ban students from carrying concealed weapons on campus, including in dorms. In other words, you could, if you were licensed, and you had to be 21 then,
Yes.
21-year-old. So
come to Colorado and pack.
And I remember that a lot of professors were saying, I don't want to, I don't want to be standing in front of a class.
and give someone an F.
An F,
me
right.
off.
And right. I mean, I just don't, you expect us to teach, not knowing how many of our students are,
Packing.
potentially, yeah. So it
Did they
didn't
give a
matter.
percentage of how many students were?
Well, this is what someone went back. The Denver Post said, hey, okay, now that we know that, what happened is that the school set up a dedicated dormitory for anybody who, they said, you know what? Rather than have these people with their guns in every dorm, let's
We'll set up
segregate.
an OK Corral dorm.
Yeah, that's right. The OK Corral dorm. Let's segregate. And I
incredible.
wait till somebody sues about that.
Oh,
too.
yeah, right.
I'm being discriminated against in my ability to get the housing I want by virtue of the fact that I'm carrying. Well, so anyway.
A lunatic. I mean, absolutely our world, I tell you.
So, this was in August. The university announced it was going to segregate students who had these concealed carry permits and were going to be having their
And I'm
guns.
sure there was like a lesbian floor with packing, and then there were people who had sawed-off shotguns on the second floor, and oh my God. Oh, was there a shooting range in the basement of this OK Corral dorm? My God.
Okay, well, now just wait.
Oh, jeez. It's like a bad TV show.
It is.
Like the station or whatever that TV show was called.
Okay.
The Office.
Here it is. So the Denver Post decided to count the number of young gunslingers who were living among their own. How many were living in the OK Corral dorm?
Yeah. 150.
Waiting list?
Thousands. I don't know.
0.
Oh. Well, I would say two things to that.
0. Is that gratifying?
Wait. Well, it's gratifying on the one hand, or is it people, while they were indeed packing or wanted to, didn't want to admit it? I don't believe there were no students not packing because the law wouldn't have come up.
I don't know.
I mean,
they
would
don't
you want to be in
here.
the bigot dorm if there was such a thing?
No, I wouldn't. But maybe
Even if
the
you
fact
were a
that
bigot, I mean,
so whatever. For some reason, the dorm that was dedicated specifically for gun-toting students does not have any residents.
No, good, but it's so loony. I mean, that sounds like the Onion and the
Well, I know.
the sexy leader of North Korea.
But that's why
really.
you can't tell anymore. You can't tell what's real and what's not because we've crossed
over any sense of.
Some of us have. And
some of us have.
Ask Jess, if maybe she knows. Jess.
No, we don't know.
SRON with a little something over the O.
That's an Irish word.
It's probably Gaelic.
Threaten.
No, I bet Ray knows. No, forget it.
No, I'm saying I don't know.
No, I don't think he's asking you. I think he's wondering if you know.
No.
She doesn't know.
I don't.
You don't have to look that up. You don't work for him. You work for us. We want to know.
It's probably the Gaelic name for nose. Do you know what that word is for nose, Jess?
I don't.
All right.
Oh, funny.
Okay, so here's something I feel strongly about, but obviously I must be in a minority since the county council unanimously approved this thing last night. And I'm simply stunned.
Gobsmacked.
Oh, it means nose. Sorry.
See,
It does mean nose.
I'm always right.
No, you're not.
Oh, Queen, yes, I am. Anyway, so what did they approve?
The county council has approved the renaming of the 16th Street Bridge.
Oh, for the historian, McCullough?
Okay, did that count?
No, No, because I
Does
got
it
it right
count?
away.
It doesn't count.
Too quick.
It was an ellipsis. Dot, dot, dot.
Yeah, it's going to be the David McCullough.
See, I think that's rather silly. I mean, I
I do
admire
too.
David
I do too.
McCullough.
I love him. I've read every book he's written.
But you
by
know,
the way.
he's a good scholar. But does that mean?
It's not that. It's that he's alive. That's my problem.
No. I don't really
When do
necessarily have so much of a problem with that. Although you're right, most often it's afterwards. But the point is, and I'm very, very appreciative as someone who appreciates and has come out of a world of scholarship and is adjunctly still in it. But you know, he's hardly Cicero.
It doesn't. That's not the point. He's one of our own. You know, so that's why Rachel Carson gets a bridge. Andy Warhol gets a bridge.
Fair enough.
Roberto Clemente gets a bridge. And I think all three of those are perfectly fine.
Yes, right.
And David McCullough, once he's gone, would be perfectly fine too. But there's a problem when you start doing this for people who are alive, I think.
Then we could have the Luke Ravenstahl Cocktail Lounge or something like that.
First of all, it bespeaks our usual impatience, our unwillingness to let time take it.
Sure.
You need, once somebody has lived among us, you need, even if they're celebrated in their life, give it a little breath afterwards to review, to look back.
Well, I think part of it is the fact of saying to that person, so he, rather than just his progeny.
So he gets the honor.
And he can feel it.
I know,
No, I understand.
And I'm surprised that he, as a historian, wouldn't have said,
Didn't he comment at some point?
I don't know, but now he's saying, boy, I'm
gobsmacked.
Yeah, I'm gobsmacked, essentially. And he says he's coming with all his grandchildren for the dedication in July. He's thrilled. Now,
is the 16th Street Bridge the one that has those beautiful towers?
I think it might be.
Almost looks like
near the History Center.
Oh, no.
No?
Oh, then I'm thinking of a different one.
Well, I don't know.
No, I think I'm thinking of the 18th Street Bridge.
I don't know. Who can tell?
But isn't the 16th? That's only a trestle. That's not really a bridge.
No.
Yes.
They wouldn't name a trestle after him. It's a bridge.
Well, then it's the one that's, it has those beautiful...
balls.
Yeah.
Globe things.
Yes.
But in the Strip District,
right?
Sort of.
Yeah.
That's not the 16th. I think
that one is.
Yeah.
But that's not near the convention center. That's
close.
Well.
Anyway, I just disagree. I disagree. Mm-hmm. Here's why.
Well,
this wouldn't happen with David McCullough, but here's why. You can't see the forest for the trees. I mean, you need time to evaluate people. And
also, I think what you might be saying as well, or maybe I'm preempting you, but who knows? I mean, he may end up being a Nazi, or we may end up learning he's a plagiarist.
That's what I was going to say.
And so what if
we
complete?
we named the bridge after our favorite son, David Petraeus, right?
Right, exactly.
And then this kind of a thing happened. Now, I know with David McCullough, that's not going to happen.
But you never know.
Well, none of us ever know anything.
No, of course, that's what I mean.
But what is the friggin' rush?
Right. Well, it was sort of like what people said when they gave President Obama the Nobel Peace Prize.
The Nobel Prize. Give me a break.
He is a wonderful gentleman, but... I mean, it was really a slap in the face to Bush. That was the reason. At least that's what most commentators said.
Well, it wasn't right.
No, but it wasn't right because he hadn't at that point.
He hadn't done
even
it.
Now done enough to say that
He'd done a lot,
world
but he
peace,
hadn't saved the world.
It wasn't like Desmond Tutu or someone of that nature.
So I just have a real problem with it. I mean, obviously, I'm not losing sleep.
Yeah,
but,
let's hope not.
And he's the nicest guy you would ever want to meet. I mean, he is just the best guy.
Mm-hmm.
I adore the man.
Mm-hmm.
He's a gentleman, truly a gentleman and a scholar.
Mm-hmm.
And I know he took time out to come to my son's grade school because it was his grade school.
Oh, uh-huh.
He went to Linden School, public school. And he has such memories of it. Such fond memories. And in fact, in the paper he's quoted today is by saying that he learned so much about bridges from a teacher, Mrs. Somebody, at Linden's school.
Oh, that's nice.
I know. So, he's a good guy. And, of course, he wrote a great book about the building of the Brooklyn Bridge. I recommend all his books. His books are just wonderful.
Yeah, it's a very fine story.
They're wonderful. And we got to take a break. Did we not take a second break?
No.
We did not. Oh, we got a call. Okay, come on in, caller. Hello.
Hey, Lynn.
Hi.
And Tom.
Hi.
George and Moon.
Hi, George and Moon.
Hello.
Hey, let me remind you that I think you're perfectly right in your stance on this. But you failed to bring in the big part of the argument to buttress your discussion and point of view.
Which is?
Those public things that are named, the long tradition has been as memorials.
That's
Memorial.
right.
That's the key thing to this. Because people's memories are so short, and we want to recognize their accomplishments, we chose to call public structures and everything, or highways, and they're all over the place, as memorials, so people remember those people once they've passed.
I think you're right.
Yes, absolutely. They should be memorials, and it corrupts it by going against it, but while they're living.
Stop and think about it. I mean, it's not like we built the Washington Monument or the Lincoln Memorial or the Jefferson Memorial. We didn't build any of those edifices until people were long gone.
Right. And it was for a purpose, to have us remember them and their accomplishments.
Right.
How can you remember them if they're still alive?
Well, this is what is interesting to me about how McCullough is processing this. Because as a historian, he knows this.
Yes. Oh,
so,
yeah. Well,
you know, when he said, he had a funny quote. It's an interesting quote. He said, it's cute, actually. I don't know if I even have it here. He said, "You are snoring into the microphone again." Yes, you are. Back off. If you're not talking, then you're going to hear me.
I'm not snoring. It's my guitar.
Okay, all right.
Me,
yeah,
jeez.
Now,
and you wonder why I'm not married.
Or me, especially.
Yeah, right.
Well, no, part of this. So I'll move away from the microphone. Pardon me. Is that there's probably a little bit of ego in it, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, but this is what's cute about what he said, because here's what he said. It's so the opposite of what people usually would say, and it's so honest. He said in a phone interview yesterday, "I am hugely inflated and a little humbled."
Oh.
Now, isn't that cute? Because it's
hubris, has no end. Pride goeth before the fall. I mean,
but
you know what I would say to him? I would say, please, how can we memorialize you if you won't die?
We could like throw him off the bridge and then. Yeah,
there you go, and then it'd be a real memorial bridge.
Yes.
Hey, one thing you ought to be talking about. There's big news about Marcellus Shale drilling at the airport and in Moon Township.
They're going to be drilling at...
Moon Township passed ordinances last night that permitted it in public parks and a whole bunch of areas, not in residential areas, but in a whole bunch of areas, including a wide swath of the township that is owned by the county. And also in the news was that the county has received humongous bids from Consul and EQT
for drilling at the airport.
Astronomical amounts of money
for drilling.
To drill at the airport.
Well,
but I thought, I'm not.
So welcome to Gasland here.
Yeah.
Well,
but now I thought that although people are sort of putting these things in place, that all of this had slowed down appreciably because of the downturn of the price of gas in this economy, so that all this flash of money that was supposed to come...
but that's only temporary, Tom. That's because there is a whole huge amount that's being drawn out from Pennsylvania and West Virginia, and it has lowered it for now. But all these companies
potential is still right.
That it will rise back up again. And you know what they're also talking about with the feds? That they're going to sell it abroad to the highest price payer.
Right.
Great.
both in Asia and in Europe. They want to build huge processing plants.
They're saying some people are predicting that we will, in fact, supersede Saudi Arabia as the world's largest exporter.
Wow. Possible, but it's going to have an effect on
sure.
But standing in its, I can see. I was on the losing end of this Marcellus Shale thing, and it's lost.
Yeah. I mean, the state, the county, and now our local officials have all joined in rank, and they're going to deliver it to the industry.
Yeah.
And we're worried about the regulation and the health of the public and everything else. I mean, that's
because you know, with all that forced hot water, with all the chemicals in it that's going to get the gas out, you know they're not going to. It's going to leach out because the cost of taking all that
problems if
gook
they
out of
don't
the
properly
water.
regulate this.
Yeah, it's going to be awful.
Hey,
but the real thing is, when people talk about getting independence from foreign oil with this new gas, the trouble is they are not requiring this gas to be sold just domestically. When it goes to the highest price abroad, guess where it's going to go? And then the price domestically, how it will affect.
Goes up.
It'll go up too here. So we will not get the full use of this natural resource in our own backyard.
Because the companies that are producing it don't give a damn about your pocket. They're in it for the
for the profits of their shareholders and themselves.
Okay, well, listen, we got to run because I still have to get this break in.
Check out the stories, though.
Thank you, George. Will do. Okay, bye-bye. Break.
More is on the way with Lynn Cullen Live.
Pittsburgh City Paper's annual Holiday Guide magazine is available now. Pick up one today for great holiday gift ideas from your favorite local merchants. Plus the Smashing Pumpkins, The Crucible, Olivia Newton-John, and News of the Weird. Pittsburgh City Paper, available at over 1,700 locations throughout Western Pennsylvania, and on the web at pghcitypaper.com, and on your smartphone at citypapermobile.com.
36 countries, 150 artisan groups, a world of handmade treasures, and one place to discover them all. 10,000 villages, home decor, jewelry, gifts, all one of a kind, fashioned one at a time. At 10,000 villages, each item tells a story.
When somebody else takes that beautiful item, I want to carry that beauty to them.
They're gifts that give twice, because 10,000 Villages is a fair trade retailer, providing sustainable income to artisans in developing countries.
Fair trade has been the possibility to have what we have now.
Enriching their lives while bringing exotic elegance into yours. Surprise your senses. Express your style. Experience the new. Step into 10,000 Villages.
I feel very beautiful making these products, and I want all our customers to feel beautiful wearing them.
Now, it's back to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com.
Okay. Geez, I got this heavy-duty thing here, and I hate to end on it, but it's a question this horrible story in New York subway.
Yes, right.
First of all, I'm sure you know it. The New York Post ran a front page picture of a man who'd been pushed onto the subway tracks with a train coming at him. And a photographer there had snapped a picture where you see the man looking at this oncoming train, and he's going to be dead in a second. Mm-hmm. And the headline on the Washington Post is...
New York Post.
About to die. Doomed.
Well, okay. They're the greatest headline writer of the world.
This is, I'm sure Rupert Murdoch's dead mother would be very proud of Rupert for yet another huge journalistic. When you think of what Murdoch single-handedly has done to journalistic ethics in our country.
Right. Well, the only thing I have to say is, as Andy Warhol said, and he loved the New York Post,
because it was so...
No, but the point is their headlines, as awful as that is, it really gets it. But it really gets it. I mean, it's horrible, and morally it's despicable, but it
shouldn't
gets
be there.
To that story,
it should not be there.
No, well,
This is it shouldn't be there, I don't think. Also, the question that it brings up, of the photographer. Why did the photographer
spend the time taking the picture
when he could have run and tried to get this guy to safety?
Exactly.
Now the photographer says, I was doing that so my flash might alert the train. Bullshit.
Yeah, right.
He also said that there were people closer.
Which may have been true.
Which is true, apparently. And they did nothing to help this man. But the question it raises about that photographers, what their role is in these situations. The picture that this whole story brings to my mind is a picture that won the Pulitzer Prize the year it appeared. It is one of the most powerful pictures I have ever seen in my life.
I'm wondering what you're trying to say.
It's a picture of an emaciated child.
Oh, yes.
Starving child. Sitting in the sand somewhere, in a desert, just sitting there like this. And right behind him, sitting, is this huge vulture. Bigger than the child.
Buzzard, I think.
Buzzard, whatever, yeah, right. Bigger than the child. That picture so freaked me out. And it won the Pulitzer Prize for the guy who, and I'm thinking, so did he take the picture and then grab the child? And save it? And I don't think so. Because okay, go ahead.
Well, what's very interesting, I thought that was the picture you're going to talk about. What's very interesting is it was a tremendously potent picture. Well, just like this other one, the inevitability of
yeah,
death.
but this picture.
Yeah, anyway. But there's an artist who I've worked with, actually, who I sort of discovered, who's a Chilean artist, been living in the United States for quite a while, named Alfredo Jaar, J-A-A-R. And he did this installation not just about this photograph, but about the photographer, because what happened is, and I can't remember the photographer's name, and he's not famous, other than the image, most people don't know his name, but after that image, I think he ultimately ended up committing suicide.
I was going to say, did he kill himself?
Because it was just so, and what happens is, in this installation that he does, he tells the story of this photographer about going to India or wherever it was.
It was in Africa somewhere.
Or Africa. And finally you see that image, and then the installation ends, and there's all these slides saying, Bill Johnson was a photographer from, Wisconsin, and then you have this image, and then the whole room in which you're sitting has this huge Klieg light going, flash, and it flashes in your face, and then the installation is over. As if that flash was sort of like the death of this child and the moral death of the photographer. And it was one of the most potent things I've ever seen in my entire life. But what's interesting about this is, and I thought about this when I read the story about the subway thing, there was an incident, I bet in the last 5 years, when another similar thing happened. Either someone pushed someone, or someone jumped, or fell. I don't remember that. But someone else jumped in, and the train was coming. They couldn't, and he laid on top of this person, and they both were saved. Yeah. So there are instances still of great courage that people. But no, it's just sort of tragic.
But the impulse of a journalist photographer to show those of us who aren't there, this is what's happening. And so that picture deserved the award it got. It was that powerful a picture. But I don't think then that photographers then intervene. They simply report.
Right.
And I know these issues come up a lot. Somebody is struggling, drowning in the river, and the photographer is shooting it rather than putting down the camera and jumping in.
Well, you would think of someone like Ouija, who was a photographer, the great photographer Ouija, who it turns out did these great images in the 40s and 50s of gangland murders. And it turns out that because he paid off the cops, he would get there before anyone else could. And then they would sometimes rearrange the evidence to make the image even more horrific.
Oh, wow.
And so then that sort of begins to tell you, all right, if it's art, not fine, but all right, you're doing it for art. But what information, especially if you rearrange it, then is that really journalism? No, it's not.
No, it's not.
And
No,
it's a huge
and
issue.
it's also not good police work either.
Well, that's horrific. I mean, but no, that's that notion of, but I could see us sitting here with a lot of journalists who would very strongly, and these be moral people, defend that fellow
No,
with the
I know
buzzard
that.
photograph.
I know that's true.
But it is, you have to say, well, then does your humanity come before your profession?
Well, if you think of your profession as a calling in which you are witnessing for the world.
Right, but in other words...
If this was a way of getting people to finally acknowledge that, like in Biafra or wherever this was, that look at what's happening. Look what's happening. Look what our indifference is.
Did we not know
our
that?
indifference.
No, I understand
let
that.
alone the photographer's indifference.
No,
what about ours?
I understand that, but I mean, is that something we didn't know? I mean, that's a particularly graphic image, I grant you that. But I was not surprised. Oh, starving children die, and that, carrion come and...
I even thinking about it,
it's such a...
now in it is the most unbelievable...
Because it's a sort of inevitability. That's the point.
It's the same idea of this horrible subway one, except it's worse. It's much, much worse.
Or maybe it's not, in the sense that you might say, in the case of the Biafran image, is that maybe the natural order in a place like that, where it's not about a subway, because also in this case, someone pushed the guy. It was, I think, a homeless person who was
who used
deranged.
to live in Beaver County, by the way.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
Interesting.
Yay, that's one for us.
Yeah, right. But, in natural order of things, things die in the wild, in the wilds, and then the nature, buzzards have to live too.
Oh, for Christ's sake. Okay.
I have an up note on this.
Oh, we have to end on buzzards.
Wait. In India, particularly in Mumbai, in Bombay, there are many Parsis who live there. It's one sect of religion which goes all the way back to Zoroastrianism. But anyway, their tradition was when someone dies, you would take them to a temple they have and put them on the
for the buzzards
to eat, because the idea was that the dead should not go into the water and ground.
Well, it's a circle of life too, right?
Anyway, what has happened is with new pesticides, etc., many of the millions of buzzards have been killed off. So in the interval, the Parsis have been having to cremate people, which really goes against their whole religious thing. So now the Indians found this out, and they're not using this pesticide or whatever it was. And so now they're importing buzzards back into...
buzzards to eat their
so
dead?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I thought that's sort of an old and new merging together.
I had to feed a buzzard once. A huge
You and
slab
animals.
Of meat.
This could be your...
This was at the aviary. I was terrified.
Oh, they're so... look.
It was... the shoulders
and they're
hunched
black
up
and hairy.
And they're huge. They're huge. And the person said, just... throw it in. Just throw it in.
And you think there should be that...
Oh, God. Yes.
And did it come and just chew it up?
It just jumped on this thing, and it was like a 5-pound steak. I mean, it was
What did they say? I don't think I was to the aviary not long ago. I don't remember a buzzard.
They were outside in the back. I don't know. This was a long time ago, but they were outside. There was cages in the back. Anyway, we got to go. This is ridiculous.
From noses to buzzards to shrons. Thank you for that, Ray. I now know one word in Gaelic.
Shron? You don't know how to pronounce it?
I don't know how to pronounce it, though.
And I thank you all, and hope you enjoyed
Happy Thursday.
Whatever this was. Tomorrow.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper, Steel City Media, and its advertisers.